This video only exists because of the immense amount of times you guys have asked me to make this video. Welcome to Vlogmas. Okay guys, so the video that we are making today, I want to get this disclaimer out of the way. This video is purely for educational purposes only. It's not something that I'm technically comfortable about talking about, but since you guys want it, I'll do it for you guys. Only for you though. I would make a video, obviously showing the cars, showing how to build and how to work on stuff, but I wouldn't really feel comfortable talking about prices about things because I didn't want to come off as, bragging and not humble, I guess, which I've spoke about this before too as well, which is why I don't make these videos. But you guys were asking for them, so I'll make it for you. But just to be clear, this is for educational purposes only for you guys. This is only for educational purposes. Literally, this money stuff, it makes me very uncomfortable to talk about because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. It's just for educational purposes. I'm only doing this to help you guys and because you guys were asking for it, because it honestly is a very interesting and intriguing question to know that how much would a car like this cost to build, in the condition that it was in. Which also, to be clear, not to brag about the car itself either. The car, when at the state when I got this car, guys, a Mitsubishi Mirage was better than this car. No hate against Mitsubishi Mirages, I love those things, but just saying. A lot of work went into this car to get it to where it's at today, so this is for educational purposes only. I'm not bragging or anything like that. This is just to show you guys, I guess, the finance aspect of it, to be transparent with you. So, today's video is going to consist of us doing a full complete price breakdown on this 2021 Camaro SS 1LE that we rebuilt on the channel. Now, we bought this car back in 2020 to 2021 timeframe, around that time. To furthermore expand on that, we bought this car during the pandemic. So, when that had happened, guys, the pandemic was obviously a really bad and tragic thing that happened, but another thing that happened in the pandemic was nobody actually knew, what was happening with market prices back then. Home prices were changing, car prices were changing, whole lot of unknowns. So this car, let's just say, was a victim of those prices. So the one big reason I'm making this video for you guys is to show you that this rebuild didn't really go to plan budget-wise, but nonetheless, it came out really great. Behind me, I have all the receipts laid out of this car. Sometimes when people do price breakdowns, they kind of just tell you guys a price. I wanted to go a little bit more in depth with it. I wanted to show you guys the prices and then show you where those prices went. So let's get into it. This one is gonna be crazy. Okay, I remember waking up at 8 a.m. somewhere around May of 2021, and I was bidding on this car, and I was bidding against a guy from the United Arab Emirates, and he was bidding a lot on this car, and I went a little bit. I was hoping to get this car around $20,000. I ended up winning it at $20,100. After fees and shipping, we were in this car about $24,000. Shipping was $1,800. Very expensive for shipping. With prices back then, nobody knew that they were going to skyrocket and all these different things were going to change so much with prices. So it was about $2,000 for shipping and $2,000 for fees. All in $24,000 to get the car to the door in the condition that it was in. My goal was probably to fix the car for about $10,000 in parts. That did not happen at all, not even close. And then my goal to sell the car, back then these cars were worth around 50 to 55, maybe touching 58s, 59s. That's how much they were worth back then because of what the car market was doing back then. So everything was looking pretty good, budget-wise. That did not happen either. So let's get into how much these parts costed. So you guys remember, this car was hit pretty hard and it had all the airbags blown, the whole right side of the car was destroyed, suspension gone, front end destroyed, cooling system gone, frame rails. Car was bad, guys. This thing was battered. It rear-ended an F-150 going who knows how fast, clearly pretty fast. And it had a lot of electrical damage too. It took us a long time to get this car done. This car was a 2-year-long rebuild. Not because that it was damaged so bad, but because of the pandemic, things were really hard to come by to get parts and stuff like that. Everything was just kind of all over the place back then. Definitely could have been done a lot quicker, maybe 11 months at the max. It definitely could be shorter. Or if I had gone to parts car, definitely. Learned a lot from this car though. Before we get into the prices, I want to say, even though car did not turn out to be a very good deal, still it still was kind of worth it because I learned so much from this car that now I'm using the knowledge to work on other builds. If it wasn't for this car, I probably would have bought other cars that were probably not fixable, and I would have been probably out a lot more, and it probably would have been even worse financially then. So this car probably saved me a lot because this car helped me decide if this Mustang was a good enough buy, and so far it is because that car is perfect electrically. It's really good. But this receipt just fell into my hand, so let's talk about this one first. This receipt right here is for the front right brake caliper, $456, and as you can see, it was on back order because of the pandemic. I placed this order on March 1st, 2022. So I did get the car in 2021, but I didn't start really rebuilding it until 2022 because we did have a bunch of projects to get out of the way. Plus, this channel was really small back then, so I was kind of trying to get it ready, get some people on here so then we can all enjoy a good rebuild together. There's a lot of stuff to go around, so that one just fell into my hand. Let's keep moving. All right, so I just have these all on the hood right here, guys. Some of these have pictures, some of them were bought from GM directly, so it's just part numbers. Okay, so let's go ahead and start over here. So this was the big order. So what did this order consist of right here? So this order right here consisted of literally a lot of just random things. You got the frame rails, some components to the front bumper, and some sensors and brackets. Got the bumper absorber, radiator support, brake hose, another frame rail, the wiring harness for the front bumper actually. Brake ducts, the fan, the radiators, some hood hinges, air deflectors, inner fenders, washer fluid bottle, splitter, that one was a pretty penny, side marker lamps, mounts, more harnesses for various components around the car. Engine harness. Now, as you guys remember from the rebuild, this engine harness, I kind of bought it for parts to try and save our harness because the 1LE SS engine harness is a lot different from a regular Camaro SS harness because the 1LE has a lot of magnetic ride control stuff on it. So that harness itself was so hard to find, so I had to do my best to try and save that harness. Our chassis harness was destroyed and our engine harness was destroyed. I had to buy a parts chassis harness and a parts engine harness. We were successfully able to rebuild and fix the chassis harness, but the engine harness developed like high resistance in the wires and stuff, so that engine harness was unfixable. And basically the money we spent here for this engine harness turned out to kind of just turn into a fluke. It didn't really work out, and I ended up having to take the car to out of town actually. I had to drive there multiple times, and they were unable to fix the harness too. They thought they could. More to come on this story later in the video. As you guys remember, I did end up finding a harness, but story was crazy to get this car fixed electrically. Anyways, moving on. And then this receipt right here, you got the fender, radiator support here too. So we had, I guess, two type of supports for the radiator. And then the transmission cooler, front duct, stability bar link, the front fascia package, which is actually the front bumper. All of that stuff right there in that order came out to a grand total of $7,787.18. So we're getting pretty close to our budget right there. Then we had this other order right here just for some bolts, the front bumper emblems right here. So those emblems are like this emblem here and then that cool SS emblem right there. That stuff came to a grand total of $167. Oh, just thinking about this, guy, this is crazy. Gosh, I should probably get rid of this thing. But then we have the front brake pads, $259 plus $10 shipping. Caliper bolts, $856, and another caliper bolt, $529. These prices were actually cheaper than dealership, which is why you see like two separate listings. This guy only had one and this guy only had one, so I just bought it from them both. It was still cheaper. Then this is another order we had from GM directly. This one was actually to rebuild the suspension strut. So we had to get like all those insulators, the coils, the actual strut itself, and the mounts for the strut and all the nuts and everything for it. The whole magnetic ride strut came out to $612.62. I had to get the strut assembled too. I didn't want to do it myself because this was a magnetic ride strut and I wanted to make sure everything was absolutely perfect on it. So I took it to the dealership. They charged me like $100 to build the strut. So all in, the strut was like $700. Then right here, this receipt, bunch of just nuts and seals and everything. This was all miscellaneous stuff that I found out that I needed while building the car. Came out to $397. Oh no, actually it came out to $428.54. That's a crazy jump right there. So it's like 30 bucks in taxes and stuff. Got brand new tire right there. Got some lug nuts and then a tube. I believe that one was for the transmission cooler. Got more miscellaneous nuts and bolts and a nut for the mirror. Some push clips, some clips for the bumper retainer, a screw for the horn, and a nameplate badge. Those badges are actually those little guys right there. eBay definitely helped us out a lot. We saved a lot of money than going through the dealer to get these parts. So we got an airbag for like 300 bucks off. We were able to save our clock spring with this little wiring harness kit. Got a neat airbag. All these airbags from the dealership are like 500-600 bucks. So, you know, save a good bit of money right there. These headlights at the dealership were like 1,400 bucks each. I got one of them for 580. That handsome little fella right there. And then I got a brake rotor as well. Now this guy said that this brake rotor would actually fit on the 1LE Camaro, but he was wrong. This one was for Cadillac. As you guys remember, the whole trouble we had with this car with getting the rotor on, found out that it was just a little bit different in size. So I had to order another rotor for the car, which is in this listing right over here. And this is the one that fit on our car. So that one was $10 more expensive than this one, but I couldn't return this one because it was out of the policy. So I have that one too. That's the chassis harness that I had to get to save our chassis harness on this car, which it worked out phenomenally. That was a great investment right there. Then some more suspension components right over here. More suspension components for the tie rod. And now this part right here. This one is filled with some stressful things right here. So we got a little shield for the car. I believe the shield was this one, but I had to order another one for the 1LE because the 1LE shield is different. The hub and everything is the same, but the shield is different, so I ordered another shield. That's a headlight right there. That's a hefty one, which is this little guy right here. Then there's the rotor and then these wheels. These wheels, oh my goodness, guys. These wheels were so hard to find. The dealer could not get them. I ordered them so many times. They were on back order. I ended up finding, I only needed one wheel. The tow truck that towed this car ended up damaging this driver's side wheel, but the passenger side wheel, I didn't have at all, so I just needed one wheel. So what I ended up doing was I ordered a damaged one, not like bent damage, but it was like, it needed a new like powder coating on it, I guess. It was scuffed up and everything, so I ended up ordering one of those wheels, and I took this wheel and that wheel to get repowder coated, and they look amazing now. So that's that wheel right there. So got a pretty good deal on it as well, but I did have to pay $200 for powder coating. And the wheels themselves are like 600 bucks from the dealer if they could get them. So not really, pretty much just, I found a way to get the wheel pretty much. Saved like 400 bucks on the seat airbag. Got a cool DRL right there, and then I needed a hood latch. And what are we missing? Oh, these two fell earlier. So these ones are miscellaneous, just brackets and shields and clips and stuff. So yeah, but over all of these receipts right here, there's one receipt that sticks out above the rest of them. The hardest part was this one right over here. It took me forever to get all these records and print them out for you guys. This was crazy. This video is a very interesting one, to put it like that. Wow. Okay, so what is this part? This part is the engine wiring harness on this car. Right down over here, guys. And this one was very hard to get. So we got the chassis harness from eBay for this car, and we were able to restore and repair our chassis harness, and we saved it. But the engine harness, I tried saving it, and it worked for maybe a good like couple months. And then as the rebuilding went on to this car just randomly stopped starting. So I turned to the engine harness, and I could see that it had developed an issue. There's a whole lot of codes for it. The engine harness that we had gotten to fix the engine harness, I guess it kind of failed. So I ended up trying to find an engine harness and replace it in its entirety, but I couldn't find one anywhere, and I ordered it at the dealership, but they couldn't get it. So when I ordered it at the dealership, we placed the order and there was no ETA. We didn't even know if it would show up, but that was like 650 bucks. And for the meantime, I was just doing some research, and I found a shop that specializes in electrical stuff, but it's like out of town and everything. So I had to tow this car there, and they checked out the harness, and ultimately they were not able to fix the harness, and they said that we would need to replace it because they couldn't fix it. There was too much high resistance in the wires. So what we ended up doing was I just ended up going to like people who were parting out Camaro SS1LEs. I saw people, selling engines and everything. And there was one guy in particular who was selling an engine out of a 21 SS1LE. And I saw that there was an engine harness attached to it. I asked him if I could buy the harness. He said that he would not separate it. After a little bit of convincing him and telling him how much I was willing to pay for it, he ended up going ahead and taking it off. But before that, he was not even willing to sell it to me because I offered him like 600 bucks for it and he was not budging. Offered him 900, he wasn't budging. And then he said, if you give me 1,000, I'll do it. So I gave him 1,000, got the harness, and the car was at that shop out of town. So I ended up just giving them the harness so they could install it. That way, at least the car would be running when I picked it up, and it made things a lot easier. You know, we drove it up the trailer and everything. But the day this car's engine harness got replaced with this harness, I got a call from the dealership saying that my harness that I had ordered at the dealership, custom ordered, that one had arrived. Now we can't forget about the other things this car needed. Like it needed an alignment, that was like 100 bucks. We needed to refill the AC on it. This car takes that like 1, 2, 3, 4 YF stuff that, you know, that really, that new system, the trickier system. So those cans, I believe this car took 2 cans. A can of that system is like 50 bucks a can, so it was like 100 bucks. And a bunch of, you know, little miscellaneous things here and there. So total for everything on this car, with all those parts right there that you guys saw, it was like $17,000. Harness attempt that they had at that place to try and repair a harness, that was like 400 bucks, and then they just installed their new harness since they had it there. So, you know, we're touching, it's around 20 grand to get this car built correctly the way we wanted to. And, you know, after you add up everything, we were at what, 23,000 in the car, 20,000 in the parts. We were in this car maybe about 43,000. But at the time this car was at that shop and they informed me that they were unable to fix the harness, I was scouring the internet trying to find a way to get the harness, but at the same time I had an order made at the dealership that would either, you know, they didn't know if the order would ever actually come in. The day that the car actually got finished, that harness ended up showing up and I couldn't return the harness because it was a special order part like that. So I had basically spent, you know, $1,000 for the used harness I found that got this car fixed. The original harness couldn't be fixed. And then I had an order for like 650 bucks at the dealership. And the day this car's engine harness electrical system was completely done and fixed, that harness ended up showing up. So I couldn't return it. So what I ended up doing was, just for funsies, I was not actually intending on anything happening. I took the harness, I just took a picture of it and I posted on eBay for $3,000 just as a joke, because they were in demand and you couldn't get them and I had to wait like 3 months for mine. So somebody actually ended up buying that. So you could subtract the 3 grand from this car's price breakdown, and this car all in is about $41,000 as it sits right now. So that did not go to plan at all. I blame the economy. But now let's take a tour around the car that we built. Right over here, as you guys know, this is where the damage occurred on the car. It was horrible, it was destroyed. Most people probably thought that I was gonna part it out, but we got the car done and built and it looks absolutely amazing. Look at this, guys, all those wires, everything looking great, and we got everything looking so awesome on this car, so proper. We even went as far as to paint every little bolt and nut on this car to make sure that attention to detail was done as it should. So you wouldn't even be able to tell that this car was ever had removed panels. And then of course wrap the hood and everything. And we were able to actually save this vent, so that was pretty cool. But this front end, so mean. I haven't showed you guys this car in forever, but it's a Vlogmas, baby. So got the Camaro flag right there, and this interior gotta be one of my favorite interiors on a car. Oh, did I leave the remote in here? So this interior's gotta be one of my favorites. Recaro seats, Alcantara, looks absolutely amazing. I even put the scent back in it that the previous owner had in it when he crashed the car. I still actually haven't found the previous owner of this car, and I've tried, but I'm sure if I do a little bit more digging, I could probably find him. But previous owner, if you're watching, maybe send me a DM or something. You know, that'd be pretty cool, you know? I feel like when I was doing the rebuild on this car, maybe the previous owner might have reached out to me, because there's a guy in the comments one time telling me that he had the same car, same spec, and the same type of accident. And I was like, that's a little too specific. This has to be the owner. But this is so amazing, guys. Look at this interior. I love this car. And obviously look at the little mats. I take care of this thing so much. I take care of all the builds, and I cannot wait for that Mustang to be done. Look at those lights, guys. Those are amazing. And then the tail lights. I love the little black accents all over this car and the 1LE calipers. Look at these tail lights, guys. Those are awesome. And of course the dual mode exhaust. This thing is insane. Right now, as this car is, it probably is valued at around, like, a lot of them similar mileage market. Obviously not the same spec because this color is really rare. But as you know, usually I've seen a lot of these go for around like the $42,000 to $48,000 mark. So with us being $40,000 in on this car, not a bad deal, but I have gotten offers for this car at like 30,000, 34,000, and 35,000. So I mean, you definitely have opportunity to make money, but you could also lose a little bit or maybe break even. I guess it just depends on who buys it, but for now, it's right over here in the garage and it's looking absolutely amazing. So now you guys know how much a car like this would cost to build, I guess, during a pandemic. In realistic terms, a car like this should have costed somewhere around maybe 30,000 to fix, but because of how prices kind of inflated super fast, it wasn't really supposed to be that way. The fees were not supposed to be as expensive as they were, and neither was the shipping. As well as those parts, they were not supposed to be that expensive or that hard to get. And obviously, ultimately, the rebuild was not supposed to take 2 years, but it did, and it didn't really slow us down too much because, as you guys know, we have done so many other builds while waiting on parts for this one. But I guess it might be time for something new. As you guys know, we have the Mustang and got a whole lot of ideas up here, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But the question is, are we keeping it? Are we selling it? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, go down below, hit that like button, while there's a shiny red subscribe button that you should click. But that is all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all December 8th. Bye!